Hey again, it's Mr. Lum, and we're going to do some more Math 9 and talk more about exponents. So, we're going to be talking about another exponent law for a power of a product. So, we kind of have like this general formula right here, but um, we're going to kind of jump into it and see what that means. So, here we have 2 times 4 to the power of 3. Now there's a bunch of different ways you can write this. The first way you can write this is you can do inside of the brackets first. So you can go 2 times 4 is 8. Okay, and then you just go to the power of 3, and so you just go 8 to the power of 3. Okay, but if you wanted to write it as like a product of powers, what you can do is we're going to kind of write and expand this thing out a little bit. And so we're going to go what 2 times 4 to the power of 3 kind of means. It kind of means this. It kind of means 2 times 4 times 2 times 4 times 2 times 4. So just kind of 3 times right there. And so we actually don't even need the brackets. So it'd just be 2 times 4 times 2 times 4 times 2 times 4. Now, if I pushed all the 2's in one direction, it could be written like this: 2 times 2 times 2, and all the 4's next to it, so 4 times 4 times 4. This is the same as writing, well, there's 3 2's here, so we could write 2 to the power of 3 times 4 to the power of 3. And that was a really long way to show you what a quick little trick for this exponent law is. And this quick little trick says that you can just take this power right here and just bring it inside of the brackets to right there and there. So we could just say, hey, this is, we have the 3 outside here, so that's going to be 2 to the power of 3, and that is going to be times by 4 to the power of 3. And that's what this little model right here shows. It shows that they brought the m inside here because it's a times b, and we can bring it right there. So now it's a to the power of m times b to the power of m. So that's kind of exactly what I wrote in right here. Now we're going to take a look at why is this a nice little kind of easy trick. So we have a couple of examples right here. And instead of doing numbers, so you cannot actually multiply what's inside of the brackets, so we're going to have to pull in that exponent. So we're going to pull in that exponent, and first I'm going to just do it the long way right here. I'm just going to go, this is 3 times y technically, so it's going to be 3 times y, and then we have 2 of them, so it'll be times by another 3 times a y right here. And just like before, I'm going to push all of the numbers one direction, so I'm going to go 3 times 3 times y times y. So 3 times 3 is 9, and y times y is simply y squared. Okay, so I did it the very long way, and if I did it the short way, I would just go simply pull this 2 right there and right there. So it'd be 3 to the power of 2 times y to the power of 2. Now we know what 3 to the power of 2 is. That's 9, and we just leave that y to the power of 2 right there. Okay? So instead of doing it the long way, we're just going to do it the short way right here. And we're going to pull in this 3 to pull it right there. And we're going to be pulling this one in right here. So this is going to be 2 to the power of 3 times w to the power of 2 to the power of 3. And remember, when we have, in our last lesson, when you have a power to the power, a quick way you can do it is just simply multiply these two powers together. So instead it'll be 2 to the power of 3, and w to the power of, and 2 times 3 is 6, so it'll be w to the power of 6 right there. Now, this is technically correct, but we just want to clean it up a little, and we're going to go 2 to the power of 3. So in other words, we're going to go 2 times 2 times 2. So it'll be 4 times 2, and 4 times 2 is 8. So technically this one will be 8w6. Same thing for this one right here. We're going to pull that in, and we're going to pull this in right here. Now, so this is going to be 4 to the power of 2, and z, and I'm just going to do this right away. I'm going to go 2 times 2 is 4. Okay. Now, don't forget, this is going to be 4 times 4. So this will be 4 times 4 is going to be 16, and z 4. Okay. So that's kind of like a more cleaned up kind of version right there. Now, same thing goes an exponent law for a power of a quotient. Now, quotient is just a fancy word that means divide. So just like the multiply, what we can do is we can pull this into there and pull this into there. Kind of like how they did right here. So pull it into there and pull it into there. So if we pulled it in, it'd be 3 squared for this one way up there over 4 squared right there. Okay, and if I just simply go 3 squared, well, that's going to be 9, and 4 squared is going to be 16, so it'll just be 9/16. Now, another way you can think of it is just like this, is 3 over 4, and if that's squared, it'll be 3 over 4 and 3 over 4. And just like multiplying fractions, you just multiply the tops together and multiply the bottoms together. So you go 3 times 3 and 4 times 4, which is 3 squared over 4 squared. So we can leave it just like this, and this would be considered a quotient of powers. Okay. Now, you don't have to multiply it all out like I did right here, because if you get like a letter or a variable like an x or a y or an a or a b or something like that in there, you might have to leave that as a squared in there. Okay, so we have a little bit of practice right now, and I would like you to try to put this on pause. This is some questions from last time, and hopefully now you've unpaused it and you're ready to check to see if you're right. So right here we have, we're going to write these as a power, and there's a couple of different ways we can write this. So since we have a power to the power, we must multiply these two exponents together. So 3 times 0 is just going to be 0. So this would be 3 to the power of 0. Okay, and if we remember, anything to the power of 0 is just 1. So even if we did the inside of the brackets before, it would just be 1 to the power of 3, and 1 times 1 times 1 is just 1 as well. Okay, so it says write it as a power, so we're just going to leave it as this, 3 to the power of 0. Now we have 3 to the power of 3 to the power of 3. So we can just do our little quick method from last lesson, and we're going to go multiply these two exponents together. So it'd be 3 to the power of 9. Now we're going to write as a quotient of powers. So we have 7 divided by 4, and just like before, just like we just learned, we can pull these numbers in right here. Okay, so this would be 7 to the power of 3 divided by 4 to the power of 3. Okay. Okay. So now this one, it says simplify, then evaluate. So evaluate means like turn into like a single number. And if I had to do, Well, first I'm going to go 5 to the power of 2 to the power of 6. So just like before, we're going to multiply these two numbers together. So 2 times 6. So this is going to be 5 to the power of 12. And this is going to be divided by 3 times 4. So this would be 5 divided by 5 to the power of 12. Now, instead of doing 5 times 5 times 5 times 5 12 times, we simplified it and we have this really big number, 5 to the 12, divided by 5 to the 12. And anytime you have any type of number, so 7, say, divided by itself, so the exact same number, that's just going to equal 1. So we have the exact same thing here. We have a big number divided by itself, essentially, and so that is just going to be 1. Okay, and that's our answer, and that's how we evaluated it. Okay, I want you to get a little bit of practice on this in your textbook, in your Math 9 textbook, page 84. I have a few questions you can work on here, and make sure you check your answers to see if you get them right. Okay, see you in the next video.